Let's go on to the next segment there. I know you got one.
I got one. And the final one, Gringo go home. Mexico City protests targets American gentrification. A march against gentrification drew hundreds of people who protested holding up signs that said Gringo go home and demanded that Mexican leaders curb short-term rentals and tax foreigners. It was held on July 4th, U.S. Independence Day, and was advertised as a protest against American imperialism. The march, which passed the U.S. Embassy, was mostly peaceful, but later some marchers turned to vandalism, smashing windows of more than a dozen storefronts, including a bank, a popular taco chain, and a Starbucks. Video showed protesters harassing tourists seated at an upscale taqueria until they got up and left. Some patriots sitting on a street-side cafe targeted by demonstrators protested that they were Mexican, not foreigners, and in some cases flashing their identification cards. In part of the city, walls remain scrawled with graffiti. "My culture is not your trend," and "Kill a Gringo." The protests, which echoed demonstrations against mass tourism, the protests, which echoed demonstrations against mass tourism and high housing costs in other places, including Barcelona and Berlin, and have challenged the long-held notion of Mexico City as a place that welcomes outsiders. And they add fuel to rising bi-national tensions as President Donald Trump threatens tariffs on Mexico's imports and seeks to deport immigrants living without authorization in the United States. Trump's attack on Mexico has sparked a wave of nationalism, with some people pushing a boycott of American products and companies embracing the red, green, and white Mexican flag and ad campaigns. On social media, there were commentators both applaud and assailed by the protests. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security joined in the fray, publishing a post on X on Sunday encouraging unauthorized immigrants to self-deport via Customs Border Protection applications. If you're in the United States illegally and wish to join the next protest in Mexico City, use the CBP Home app to facilitate your departure. Mexican leaders condemned the vandalism and nativism tone adapted by many protesters. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't understand what's going on, a lot of Americans are living in Mexico because it's a lot cheaper. But they're coming down. They're trying to tell people in Mexico what to do on their beaches. They're making the cost of living rise. And they said that housing went up 47%, the rent in Mexico City. And they had enough of it. They're like, you're not going to come down here, expect us to do, basically it's like what America's doing, but Mexico's like, yeah, you're not going to bring your colonizing stuff over here. We're not having it. So they've been protesting ever since, and it's getting a lot more violent. This is an article from last week, I believe, but it's been there. I've been wanting to report on it. We just, the news cycle is the news cycle, but they're not having it.
Yeah, and it's been happening all over the world. He talked about in Spain, they've been doing this a lot too, attacking visitors, attacking tourists, because they're angry. They live in these cities that people like to go and see, but at the end of the day, it drives up prices because a lot of people are turning their rentals into Airbnbs. So now, I mean, with that happening, a person looks at it like, oh, I can make a few $1,000s a month versus making this little $800 a month or whatever you're giving me. I can make this doing this. And now people who are traveling there are now starting to buy units and use them as Airbnbs as well. So, I mean, it's not really anything. It's like at the same time, do you want the tourism? Because that's what's bringing a lot of money to you at the same time. This is happening all over because what Americans are looking at, we're become expats. We're like, man, we're getting taxed the hell out of in our country. So we're going to take the money we make here. And if we have a job that's online or something that we can do virtually, like a virtual job, man, are you going to sit somewhere where you're going to have to pay $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000 a month for a mortgage or rent? Or are you going to go take that same exact money and live like a king elsewhere? It just makes perfect sense. And a lot of these places that we're going to are hot vacation spots, where people like to go. And so it's happening. And this is going to become more and more of a problem until one of these governments kind of get a hold of it and figure it out. Like, hey, we want to be, either you want to be a tourist spot or you want to be a spot for your locals. And a lot of times your locals aren't making enough money. That's just what it is.
It's kind of like where I live at now, though. It's like, they keep building all these houses, but the jobs out here don't pay enough for people to actually rent them. So they're building them for people that are coming out of town. And people out here, they just proposed destroying our wetlands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember going to school and they were like, the teacher went over there and got water. And like, we looked at it under microscopes and there's organisms. It was like, these are our wetlands. I was like, oh, dang, I drive past it all the time, but they're going to cut it all down and build houses. And the people in Mexico, look, there's so many people coming back from America. They have a disdain now, but now they're just like, look, you're not going to throw off our economy. You're not going to come here and, enforce your rule. Because, I hate to say it, Americans are, what's the word? I don't want to say prideful, arrogant. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that travel the place, you have that arrogance to you. I'm from America. It's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? You're the number one country in the world, supposedly. That's what they tell us. But I mean, even now it's like, they're doing that in Mexico, and then the US or the UK has actually put up a travel warning. You know what I'm saying? To people in the United Kingdom, Germany, they're like, do not go to America because you might be jailed for being from somewhere else.
It's crazy.
So I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I was like,
that
bro,
we're the number one tourist location. Like we are, like we bring in some of the most money for any country as far as tourism. I think that France might have a little leg up on us as far as like with the Eiffel Tower, but we are like one of the biggest tourist locations, if not the biggest. We're like second in the world. People to come in for tourism, and it's becoming an issue. This dude's ripping us apart at the seams. It's just a huge problem. Trump is to me, he's a horrible president. This is all part of that. Our economics in our country are so bad that people want to get away from our country, take their money and flee somewhere else because they can't afford it anymore. It's just, I mean, this is a portion of showing you that capitalism is failing. Not the full totality of it, but a large portion of capitalism is failing. It needs help.
And Wes, I don't know if you remember what I was saying during the election. I said, look, either you vote for Kamala Harris or you can let Donald Trump get back in there and finish destroying America like he was doing the first time. And now that we're seeing it, it's sad to watch it go. But I'm glad I'm on the West Coast. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is Uncommon Courtesy. Until next time.